Hello everyone! I've been playing a bunch of Inquisitor Martyr, and there's this one mission that's very good for leveling, and I'm also wanting to test my melee build. So we're going to be chopping up demons in Valorous Heart.
Praised, Inquisitor. You are back. Have you changed your mind about lending us some assistance?
So here we are. Let's give it a whirl.
Auspex readings show a concentration of hostiles close to your position. The battery is charging and it shall fire when ready. In suffering, we repent.
You get endless spawns in this mission. And the mission only ends, well, if you die, obviously.
The battery is firing.
But when the remaining strikes reach 0, that's when the mission ends. And the objective is just to kill as many demons as you can in that time period.
The battery is firing. Ordnance away.
I really like that chainsword. My build is mainly centered about bleeds, but I added some melee damage, some physical damage, not melee damage.
The battery is firing. Ordnance away. Kill the heretic.
In higher difficulties though, I probably will get one shot by certain enemies if I'm too close. But I'll deal with that when I get to that point. I also have a flamer, which is also very good for dealing with enemies. I don't know what exploded there, but that thing disintegrated.
Firing solution is ready. Orbital lance discharging.
At any rate, I've been having tons of fun with this game. It is a bit of a mindless grind sometimes, but sometimes that's just what you need.
Firing solution is ready. Orbital lance discharging.
Nothing lives long enough to bleed in here.
The battery is firing. Ordnance away. The The battery is overheating. Only a few more shots left. Firing solution is ready. Orbital lance discharging. Firing solution is ready. Orbital lance
My flame
discharging.
weapon is way more effective than my chainsword, I think. But it's good to have options.
The battery is firing. Ordnance away. Commencing battery shutdown. Your deeds are truly worthy, Inquisitor.
And that's that. Well, I'm pretty happy with how the build turned out. Basically, because I was doing it blind, I just added passives that I thought would be useful and coupled it with the stuff that I kept finding. So I kind of tailored my build around that. And I like damage over time, so I went for that. So my neural implant has a big bonus to bleeding effect and dot duration. My eye implant has a chance to double the duration of bleeding. My main implant has 103 damage bonus for bleeding. My purity seal needs some work. I think that's the best I got for now. The holy sensor, I keep it for the movement speed and the extract of faith. The armor, same deal. I'm using Celestian armor because it gives me an extract of faith. And this one also has 50% damage bonus for bleeding, but it also hurts me, which I haven't seen it cause very many problems, but who knows. Then the inoculator, I haven't found anything better. I have a red one, but this one has better stats. This blade, which has been amazing, but it's now a bit underleveled. I'm level 67, this thing is item level 48. But the fact that those two skills, the two red ones, have a knockback, or a knockdown, is super useful. Because that way the enemy can't attack you, and so you live longer. And living longer is good. And it has bleed. Skill 2, the attack with the right mouse button, it stacks a bleed every hit. And I think it's number 1. Yeah, number 1 is that charge, where she just charges forward, just swinging the blade, and it knocks stuff out, and it deals a lot of damage. And finally, the other two skills. I use number 2, it's kind of like a whirlwind, it's just one hit. Finally, the signums, again, damage bonus against slowed. When I put a bleed, they get slowed. And, well, more damage bonus for bleeding. I still need to work on these, see if I can change some of these to be more DOT oriented. And my other weapon is this one, Hand Flamer and Rod, which I find to be really, really effective. And I haven't found anything better than a purple. but this one has 2 acts of faith. And it puts a dot on the ground, deals a lot of damage, and it has a very long range. So that's really useful when you're doing really high difficulties. The best I've done, and I think that's the most you can have, is a mission 10 levels above my level. And it wasn't easy, but everything died and I survived. I didn't die once on that one, so that works. This one I got for the extra damage to dot skills. I still need to find a better one. And this one, well, hit vulnerability on burn. My signums on the fire damage portion are not that great. I went with max contempt. I went with enhanced attrition, faith and fury, and attrition feedback, because sustainability is important. I don't think I could have done that plus 10 mission without this. And finally, the passives. I put physical attacks for when I use the chainsword, and it also ups the time for bleeding, which goes well with damage over time, and heat attacks, which are also damage over time. And I didn't put this one because I lose critical chance, though might be a good idea to put it in at some point. Went with area effects down to area denial to get suppression. Whenever you kill something with an area of effect, it gives you back 100 suppression. At this level, I don't know how good this is anymore, but it was very helpful as I was leveling, or working my way through the story, I should say. Movement was the first 3 I invested in. Running fast is very useful. And also health, like extra health, extra suppression, and recovery of suppression and health. Those are very good. I went radical, 15% experience gained, and these 3, Soul Harvest Ritual with extra critical hit strength, which stacks until a critical hit. Blood Focus, which is plus 5% warp damage bonus, and all my damage is converted to warp damage for 1 second after a critical hit. Not after a critical hit, after being hit. So I'm usually dishing out warp damage because I get hit all the time. And when I'm hurt, I also deal more damage. This one, I don't know how useful it is, because sometimes I get hit by almost all my health, and then I just have to run away. But this is potentially useful if I'm using the flamer. And well, that's how I went. I don't think it's the most optimal path, but it's one that was comfortable for me. And I've been doing quite well. I can do missions quite easily. It's not a big deal, and I can usually go at higher levels than I should. That mission, Valorous Heart, is good for farming experience and getting items, because when you finish it, if you kill I think this is dependent on the amount of kills you get, but I'm not sure. So you get these chests, and these chests contain loot. So you do this a bunch of times, and you can gear up pretty nicely. Anyway, with all that said, I'll see you on the next one. Have a good one. Cheers.